Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a get ready with me while I talk about the reason why I chose to do medicine. So stay tuned. Alright you guys, so first thing I'm going to do, you guys know I got this dread situation going on. So I'm going to just kind of tie this back so that the hair is not in my face. All right, we're gonna tie this back. And I already put on moisturizer, so I'm gonna go in with this e.l.f. primer. Yep, still not looking cute while I do that. Oh well. All right, now we're gonna get into these brows, and I'm kind of just doing the same makeup look that I did before in the last video. The only difference is that my hair is different, and I'm gonna be using only concealers today, so no foundation. All right, so let's get started with this talk. I never wanted to be a doctor growing up. I actually remember for a while I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was really heavy in that. Even like middle school and stuff, I would go and like try to talk to judges and lawyers. Let's rewind. My ultimate goal was to be a judge, and I would remember trying to go sit in courtrooms. I never actually got the chance to go do it, but that's what I wanted to do, go sit in courtrooms and stuff and listen to judges and talk to lawyers and see what the process was and what I had to do. I grew up in New York, so at this time I was even looking into going to high schools that were heavy on law. Like I think it was Urban Assembly for Law and Justice, and just schools that were heavy in law, because I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. So I remember in middle school, I got the advice that for high school, I should just go to the high school that I want to go to and not focus too heavy on the career path yet. Like just go to high school to enjoy high school. So the high school that I ended up going to was a sciencey school, and I had to do volunteer work to like graduate. I think we had to do 40 hours a year or 40 hours for the 4 years. I don't actually remember at this moment, but I had to do a certain amount of volunteer hours in order to graduate from the school. And I'm just going in with this LA Pro Girl concealer before it runs out and I have to buy another one. Yeah, so the high school I went to had a graduation requirement of doing 40 hours. And at the time, my dad worked at a hospital. So during the summers, he was like, what is going out with your friends and having fun? No, you need to come be productive in society. So I remember every morning I would leave Queens, and the hospital was out in Long Island. And for those of you who don't live in New York, it's about a 45 to an hour drive every morning, and we had to be there for 7 a.m. And most volunteers did 3-hour shifts. So if you came in at like 9, you left at 12 and such and so forth. But because my dad worked there, I had to be there all day. So I would do a 7 to 3 shift at this hospital. And it wasn't a really big hospital or anything. It was actually more of a surgical center. They really specialized in doing surgeries. So it was like 4 floors. So needless to say, I always had to try to find things to do. So we would be up and out the house by 5 a.m. every morning, ready to go to get there for 7. And at first it was your normal volunteer work at a hospital. So doing a lot of clerical stuff, filing, putting packets together for the doctors, and doing things of that nature. And that was cool. I don't mind doing office work, but because the hospital was so small, they didn't really have a specific area for volunteers. And I would just be able to be in close proximity to doctors and kind of just hear how they interacted with people and some of the stuff as the staff got, more comfortable with me, because I did this every year during high school, during the summers. From I did it maybe 3 days a week for the whole summer for 3 years. So they got pretty comfortable with me, and they would let me, interact with patients more and talk to them more and stuff like that. And that's when I discovered that there were more doctors out there than I thought. I kid you not. I thought the only doctors out there were surgeons and basically pediatricians or general doctors. I didn't know that there was even a difference between a pediatrician and a general doctor. I just thought they were all the same. And I was like, I do not want to do that. In going to the hospital, I got to learn about anesthesiologists. I got to learn about ophthalmologists, podiatrists, just a bunch of different specialties. And now that I'm in medical school, I learn about more. But at the time, that was my first type of exposure to medicine in that way. So I thought it was cool. I was like, okay, this looks like something that I would be into doing. And then more and more, I started liking medicine. And I liked doing that the patient interaction. I liked being able to comfort people when they were in a vulnerable state, because most of these people were going into surgery at the time. So fast forward, I decided, all right, I want to do medicine. I want to go to medical school. And I was looking up prices. What am I doing? Okay, now I'm going to color correct. Sorry that I'm going in and out of this conversation. I decided I wanted to go to medical school, and I would look up prices of how much it costs. And I was like, wow, they wildin', $50,000 a year, $70,000 a year, and all these beautiful prices that I knew I could not pay. And I'm just in high school trying to figure out college. So I decided right then and there that I would be, what am I doing? Okay, trying to set this in. Ooh, don't do that, y'all. I decided right then and there that I was going to be going to college in state because it was cheaper, and I was going to try to conserve as much money as possible to go into medicine. And so when I started college, I still hadn't shadowed anything yet. And by the way, for people who don't know what shadowing is, that's basically when you get the opportunity to be with a doctor and follow them around for the day, you're just their shadow, and watching them interact with patients, whatever they do, whatever specialty you choose. And I would always see this big door at the hospital when I was volunteering that you couldn't go past unless you had certain clearance or I don't even know what the word is, but you just couldn't go past there unless you had the right gear on and all that stuff. Unless you had a reason to be back there, you wasn't going back there. And I came to figure out or learn that was the OR. All right, we're gonna pause here and as I explain what I'm going to do. So I'm gonna take this concealer, which is the Born This Way Too Faced concealer in the color Spiced Rum. This is the color that mostly matches my skin tone, so I kind of just take this and dab it on where I have acne and stuff. And mostly I put this over where I color corrected, kind of just dab that wherever. Then I take my blending sponge and kind of blend it out. Back to the story. So while I was volunteering, I had asked the director of the volunteer program if it would be possible for me to shadow, because I would see some other people walking around who clearly weren't doctors, and I came to find out that they were medical students. And the director of volunteers, she was like, they just ended the program where they had high school students go into the OR and see, and the OR is the operating room, so that's where they do the surgeries. They just stopped letting high school students do that because people would faint and mess up the field, and they just didn't want that to happen. So it would be okay when I'm in college. So with this in mind, I was like, okay, great. Started college, perfect, first summer. I want to start shadowing. That summer came, and then I hit up the director again. I was like, oh, hey, I'm in college now. I'm ready to get, this show started. We can finally get me into the OR. And she was like, sorry to tell you, guess what? We don't do that no more. And I was like, wait, what? Are you serious? She's like, yeah, we just ended that program. But if you want, we can, if you talk to whatever specialty that you want to like shadow, if you get the director to sign off on it, then we could work something out. And I was like, okay, cool. And at the time I was just really interested in anesthesia. I found out they were doctors, and I didn't know that. I just thought they were just there to give you medication. I don't know what I thought they were, but found out they were doctors. So I was like, okay, let's do that, because I was never really interested in surgery like that, because you watch Grey's Anatomy and they on their feet for 20 hours, and I was not about to do that. So I had to go contact like the director of anesthesia, get him to sign off, and get a few other people to sign off saying that they were okay with me being there like maybe 2 days a week, just shadowing and seeing what was going on. So thankfully that worked out. So finally I got to shadow. All right, I'm gonna take a break in talking and just blend this out real quick. All right, so I kind of sort of blended out this highlight. Yes, highlight. So I'm just gonna continue the conversation while I blend out this contour. Yeah, so finally got the chance to go to the OR, and I chose to do it with anesthesia. I was telling you guys before. And initially going in, I was super nervous because they were talking about, oh, people faint in the OR. I had no idea what it was like. I didn't know what to expect or anything. But I went in and it was so cool. It was so cool. And I like that with anesthesia, I was able to start off with the patient like back before they went to the operating room. And then I would go with them to surgery, watch what happened. So I was able to see all the roles happening at once. So I was able to see what the nurses were doing, what the physician assistants were doing, what the surgeon did, and just the atmosphere of everything going on. And then I got to see when they put the patient to sleep, how they managed the medication while the person was asleep. And I got to watch the surgery while everything was happening. The patient was asleep. I would be able to actually see the surgeries that were happening. And most of the surgeries I saw were like knee replacements, hip replacements, rotator cuff, so like in your shoulder, getting those fixed and replaced. So it was just a really, really awesome experience. And that kind of solidified for me that medicine was what I wanted to do, specifically something in the OR, but I was also open to, other areas of medicine that I haven't seen before. So with that, I decided to go do some like summer programs from college. So I did this program called SHPEP, which is a summer health professions and educational program. I never remember what the actual acronym means, but it was for health professions. So medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, nursing, and probably something else that I'm forgetting at this moment. I'm sorry. But I did that, and we got even more exposure to medicine, like rotating in different areas of the hospital, seeing kind of the research side of medicine. And I got to see the disparities that happen between people of color, minorities, Black people, and the general public. And it was really sad, and I felt like, okay, maybe I can make a difference in this area. I'm not saying I could fully change the world or anything like that, but how can I make a change or make a difference in the small corner of the world in which I abide in? And also, I didn't see many Black doctors. I didn't see many Black anesthesiologists. I didn't really see any, I'm not gonna say any, I didn't see a lot of Black representation in the medical community besides nurses. And I felt like I like to be a trailblazer in some way. So it's like, okay, how can I do something new and different? So that was also kind of my driving force. I was like, I don't really see myself represented here, so I want to represent. Like, I want to be the person that someone else can look up to and ask questions for because I did it. And that has its pros and cons because you don't have anyone to really look up to and ask how they did it. So a lot of times you're kind of just winging it and flailing in the wind. All right, so back to the makeup real quick. I think I blended everything out. But even if I don't, I go in with my e.l.f. matte setting powder in the color Deep. And this is, like I told you, like the eraser. And I just go over it real quick and get everything done. All right, so back to the conversation. So that was really my reasoning for going into medicine. And then I kind of decided I wanted to do the military route because, once again, that was something that I didn't really know much about. I didn't see myself particularly represented in that area. So I said, okay, like, let me try this out. And plus they have the benefits of it being paid for, and I didn't pay for college, so why not? I'm thinking about doing another video on the ways in which I know of that you can pay for medical school. I need to do a little bit more research to see if there's more ways than just the ways that I know. But now I'm rambling. But basically, you guys, that's the reason that I wanted to get into medicine, particularly being a doctor. And I don't want anyone to have the idea that that's the only part of medicine that you can be in. There's a plethora of options you can do. You can be a nurse, you can be a PA. There are different types of nurses, which I didn't even know until going to medical school and being exposed to the different areas of nursing. I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that you have nurse anesthetists, for example, which are nurses who can give anesthesia. I had no idea that was a thing. And you can go into, for example, social work. I know that there are people who think social work is just like, for example, with kids and dealing with them in really sad situations, but there are social workers who go into the hospitals and talk to people and help counsel people during whatever they're going through in that time. So there's a plethora of ways that you can get involved if medicine is a thing that you want to do. It's not just being a doctor or just being a surgeon and cutting into people. I know that's what they make the shows about because that's where the action is, but that's not the only thing that you can get into. All right, guys. I'm just finishing up this makeup look with my basic nude look that I always do. And if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer or any questions that you thought of that I didn't cover or touch, please drop them in the comments or share with your friends that are interested in medicine and they just want to know more about the process and more about what it's actually like. I'm going to be definitely doing some more videos on that. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, you guys, and turn on that notification so that you see when I do videos. I'm doing videos every Sunday. Okay, so at this point I would do setting spray, but I'll do that later. All right. So this is the oh, what's happening here? Okay, there we go. Now this is the finished look. This took like what, less than 20 minutes. And this is kind of my beat face. The only thing I didn't do was put some highlighter on and do my eyeshadow, which I don't do all the time. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and your daily dose of melanin. Bye.